Hola. From the west side. It is me, DC the Purple Diva. Welcome to Not So Random Chat. And welcome to Super Tuesday Talk. Hope everybody who is in states that were voting on this Super Tuesday went out and exercised their right to vote. I hope that everyone did that. Now I know here locally in Cali, in Los Angeles County, as I predicted, it was a mess today because everyone waited until today to cast their vote. They said only 23% of us used the voting centers ahead of Super Tuesday. I was one of them. Hey, Terry. Yep, I'm up. So, is anybody surprised that Biden got so many delegates or electoral? He's got so many. Is anybody surprised about that? Because, see, Bernie is considered very, very liberal. And although Joe is also liberal, next to Bernie, he appears to be moderate. So I think he got a lot of the moderates' votes. Joe Biden, I'm talking about. But I also think that a lot of the younger generation are voting for Bernie. And California really is the largest one up for grabs. And with all the debacles and some of the, with this brand new voting process that we all had to use for this election, they had some glitches today. And I think that's one of the reasons why they gave people 11 days to go and vote. But they did say as long as people were in line by 8 o'clock, they would be able to vote. I heard reports of people who waited up to 90 minutes to vote today. So, and I'm assuming that it wasn't just in Los Angeles County that they were using touchscreens. I'm sure that they were using that in other parts of the state of California. But I heard about the issues locally. And the other thing is that this was the first time we were using the voting centers in LA County. And the thing is that they really did downsize the places that you could vote, even though they try to make it sound like, oh, you can vote anywhere. It's all convenient. Yeah, it's convenient if you're somewhere near where the voting centers were. Because I think I told you guys, like where I am, where there used to be plenty of places to vote, there's 3 places. 3. And I don't even know if there were any and that was between 2 cities. I'm not even sure. I'm hoping they had some in the other city that was even further south of us. But it seemed that a lot of the places where they had these voting center deserts were in the multi-diverse areas, where they're, it's more ethnic. So I'm not sure how that was working. I know that they said a lot of people did absentee, and I may mail mine in for the presidential election. I know my son's going to be doing his as a mail-in. Especially since I know what we're getting ready to do. You know, he'll want to touch, he'll want to touch the screen and, do it by himself. And I just don't want to have any mix-ups. So I think it'll be easier for him to do a paper ballot, and then I'll just take it in when I do my vote. But we still don't know what's going on as far as the DA in Los Angeles. I'm not sure if, if she got back in, and I'm not sure if that information, the stuff that happened yesterday, which I told you guys about her husband coming out at 5:30 in the morning with a gun, cocked and aimed, did damage because, as I said, the majority of people did not vote until today. Like literally only 23% of the voters in Los Angeles County took advantage of the 11 days. I was one of them, and I'm so glad that I did because I did not want to be waiting in no line today. I'm so glad I did because it was like nobody there when I went and voted on Sunday. And everybody who was going to drop out had already dropped out, so. But I still think it's going to be between Bernie and Joe at this particular point. Doesn't look like Elizabeth Warren even won her own state of Massachusetts. So I don't know how much longer she's going to be in the race. And then Mike Bloomberg's camp has put out a notice that he's going to be reevaluating where he is tomorrow. I guess he's waiting to see what happens tonight. But I know he did come in and get over the 15% that he needed. So I think he was at 18% the last time I checked. So he's still surviving right now. But I don't know about Elizabeth Warren. Because if she can't even win her own state of Massachusetts, what does that say? What does that really say? It's just crazy. But I think it's going to be interesting once everything airs out. But it's just very interesting that a week ago, it was looking like, Joe Biden was dead in the water. And then South Carolina comes and he's, pushing ahead. So it's going to be, I think we'll have a little better picture, but we're still a long way away from the Democratic convention. And the other thing is that I don't think that 44 is going to endorse anyone before the Democratic convention. As he's just going to let everything, wash out in the pan and wait until then. I'm sure that'll be his time to preach party unity behind whoever the candidate ends up being. But we shall see what happens. Because realistically, guys, in 4 years from now, I don't think either one of these gentlemen would run again. They don't. I'm just saying. Because think about it. Won't they be like over 80 by then? They'll be in their 80s. Do you want somebody coming into office in their 80s? as it is, everybody's over the age of 60. I think 44 was our last younger president that we'll have for a while. I just think, I think he'll be the last one for a while. But, California is the close one. And I really honestly don't think that they're going to predict any winners in California tonight. I don't think that's going to happen. I honestly don't think that that's going to happen. But, 45 got all the Republican delegates in every state, because the way that the Republican Party works is, their candidate, whoever gets the most, wins all the delegates. And since he's running unopposed for the Republican ticket, he gets all the Republican delegates, So, it's very similar to what happened when Obama was the incumbent. He automatically got all the Democratic delegates because he was running unopposed in the Democratic Party. So that part works the same. But that's what I'm saying, Terry. I'm like, ain't none of them gonna. This is it. This is it for Bernie and for Joe. I really think that Joe is probably kicking himself for not running 4 years ago. But, I understandably, he was really in grief. So I understand, but all these people are old. I mean, nobody's even down in their 50s. We need some younger people to start, trying to work their way towards that. Because right now, the presidency is going to become the old boys club again. With the older candidates who, we don't want them to be out of touch. I mean, I don't think that Bernie's out of touch with the younger generation, but I think that Biden could work on a little bit with that. I think he needs to garner the younger vote. Hey, Miss Pamela. Yeah, I think that Biden needs to garner the younger vote. So, I don't know how many. See, to me, I'm thinking that right now, a lot of the younger people, I'm talking about people under 30, are voting for Bernie. I do. Because that's who he appeals to. He appeals to that younger generation. Even though he is, obviously an older gentleman. He just appeals to them. But I think whoever's going to be running is going to be, he's 78. And then Joe is in the same, in the same realm. I don't know, he's 77, somewhere in there. So y'all gonna be in your 80s in 4 years. This it. You're not running in 4 years. So whichever one of them, because let's be honest. It's going to be Bernie or Joe. Unless something crazy happens, it's going to be Bernie or Joe. You know? And then if it ends up being Joe, question is, would he put Bernie in as his vice president? You know? In order to make sure that they get all of those votes. Because I really think that the key is to get all the people who didn't bother to vote in the last election because they wanted it to be Bernie, is to get those people to vote in this election. And the only way for that to happen, this is just my opinion, is for if Bernie is not the Democratic candidate, for him to be the vice presidential Democratic candidate. That's just my opinion. If he turns out to be the candidate for the Democratic Party, if somehow they don't, steal it from him as people think, again, I don't think that he would offer the vice presidency thing to Biden, and I don't think that Biden would take it. Because Biden's already done that before. Been there, done that. So either for Biden, it's either he's the presidential candidate, the candidate for presidential for the Democrats, or he's not. You know what I'm saying? For Bernie, he has the potential, if he doesn't get it, of potentially being the vice presidential candidate, in my opinion. Or he can go back to being, the senator from the great state of Vermont. Yeah, Bernie had a heart attack. He did, but he seems to have bounced back and appears to be in good health. But I do think that for some of us, that has played a role in whether we are voting for him for the presidential candidate. I think it is playing a role in that for some people because they're concerned about his health. He's a couple years younger than my dad. Thankfully, my father has never had a heart attack. Hallelujah. Thank you. He has never had a heart attack. He's had some other little things that have gone on. As I told you, the man doesn't drink a whole lot of water for a doctor. And so he's recently had some issues with the kidneys. Just got to start drinking that daggone water, But my dad didn't even get any type of high blood pressure or anything near high blood pressure until he was well into his 70s. So within the last 10 years. Up until then, he had none of that. Whereas, my mom, on the other hand, ironically, when she was the one who had low blood pressure most of her life, ended up getting high blood pressure. It was part of the things that she had. And she had, some heart issues. But I think that was because of smoking, my opinion. But, so, and my mom didn't, her heart didn't take her out of here. She ended up getting the same thing that God, what is his name? The our living, legend from the civil rights movement. She had pancreatic cancer like him. But let's just hope that, I wish nothing but good health to Bernie, whether he becomes the presidential candidate or not, and at least now, the one thing that he has done, even if he doesn't become the Democratic candidate, is he has pushed the education onto the platform. Because if any of you guys heard the speech that Joe Biden gave today, in regards to, winning all the states. He's now talking about making education, more affordable, and to also make community colleges free, which is similar to what, Bernie wants. So I think that that's very important. I mean, and they're both talking about, the pretty much, dwindling middle class. Those of us who have fallen into the middle class, middle class is almost poverty in the current, situation, because, it seems like only those who are wealthy are doing well. It's harder for those who are middle class to do well. And we're not even going to talk about the people who are living in poverty in our country, but see, that's the thing that the Democrats reach out to, which, let's be honest, this president, 45, made all of these promises to middle America, and he didn't keep not one of them. So it doesn't look like he cares anything about the middle class. And then talking about taking the corruption off of Capitol Hill, cleaning the swamp, he jumped in and, joined the party. For someone who is quote unquote a businessman, he sure learned how to do the political craziness real quick. Don't y'all think? But I mean, you guys know that I'm very involved in obviously I'm not very involved, but I keep myself educated. And I try to stay informed, but I definitely am into, the political and social activism, knowing what's going on as far as the political situations in our country, because y'all know, I mean, my dad was, a civil rights activist in his own right, even though he was a young man in college at the time, he organized the Atlanta sit-ins. I'm proud of that, small thing in history he had. And that was all about our right to vote, as Black people, which we still don't really have. They have to keep giving it back to us every time, which is just daggone sad. And it's because of how we came into this country, how our ancestors came into this country. They did not come into this country as citizens. They came into this country as chattel. They came into this country as chattel. So, although, they re-signed the Voter Act of 1964, keep in mind that they have to keep re-signing it, because nobody is bothering to just make it a friggin' law, or actually, I don't know, amend the freaking Constitution. Yeah, that part. That's really all they need to do. But nobody seems to want to do that. They like to have it hanging out there, what every 10, 15, whatever, however many years it is. And they always wait and make it like the last daggone thing on the agenda when they do it. Just putting it out there, stay informed. You as a Black person don't really have, your right to vote is only as long as they keep re-signing the Voting Act of 1964. Okay? As long as they keep re-amending it and extending it, we will have a right to vote. But should some crazy fool come in there and decide that they're going to get rid of that, poof, our right will be gone, even though we are citizens. Funny how that is. Funny how it's only us, people who are Black and our ancestors were slaves. No one else has to worry about their right to vote like that. Unless, of course, they go to jail and they have a felony. But even in that situation, in certain situations, they can get back their right to vote. Okay? But we're the only ones in this country. No one else, has to worry about their right to vote as a citizen. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy, y'all? Just think about that. Nobody else has to worry about that. But this is the country that we were born in. We are quote unquote citizens of. Man, I'm sorry. Let me calm down and get back to my woosah. But it just burns me up when I think about it. And that's also the reason why I get really, teed off on people who don't exercise the right to vote. I'm like, do you realize how frivolous, how fragile our right to vote as Black people is, and you not voting? What's wrong with you? Hey, Zero, the Infinite, how are you? So, seriously, y'all, maybe people just forget about the Voting Act of 1964. Maybe people just forget about it. Maybe they forget, that we really don't have a law that says that we as Black people can vote. We just have an act. Be nice if somebody would make it a bill and make it into a law. I'm just saying. Taking us back to ABC, rock. I'm just a bill, only a bill, and I'm sitting up on Capitol Hill. That one. Yeah. That's good, Zero. I'm glad you came through. And I'm just curious, just real curious as to why no president, including the one that was Black, has ever made this, fought to make the Voting Act of 1964 the law. Why does it keep getting kicked along like a tin can? I'm just wondering. It just keeps getting kicked along like a tin can. And then people aren't out there trying to exercise that fragile vote, that fragile right to vote that we have. As people whose ancestors were slaves in this country, were brought to this country and were slaves. Now, here's my question, and this is just a curiosity question. I wonder, because you guys know that there is a sector of Black Americans whose ancestors were never slaves. Yeah. Their family were always freemen. I wonder if, because they were never slaves, their family was never slaves. I wonder how the Voting Act of 1964 applies to them. I'm just wondering, But I guess it just covers all Black people. They don't designate any of us, because in their minds, even those who were never, families were never slaves, doesn't matter, we're all the same to them. I'm just saying. But, I'm just wondering about that, You know, and I know a lot of people don't know about that, but there is a segment of Black people in this country who can trace their roots back all the way back to, you know, the 1700s, and they were never slaves. You know, they were never slaves. It's a small segment, a very small segment. But it's generally ones whose, you know, families were in the northern part of the country. They were never in the South. You know, because remember, some Africans came into this country as indentured servants, the first ones, before they started, you know, chatteling us over here as slaves. You know, but I'm just saying, even those people don't have a don't really have a right to vote. Isn't that special? Because they Black. Because they are Black, and that Voting Act of 1964 applies to us. It's all about us, nobody else. I'm just saying. Nobody else, just us. Hey, Princess Laceria, how are you? Oh yeah, he's in the background. And yet and still, but I understand what you're saying, Zero. But that's what I'm saying. But they still can put it before, you know, Congress. Because I'm just wondering why this just, you know, I mean, literally, let me just put it to you guys. The right to vote, you know, the Voting Act of 1964, that's the year after I was born. So, you know, it's not a long period of time, you know, and they put it in there with the fact that they have to keep renewing the friggin' thing. So it's not a stable right to vote. And I just don't understand why the politicians don't think that it would behoove them to give us our full rights to vote. We are citizens, even if we didn't choose to be. I'm just saying. This is where we were born. You know, I mean, if we are actually citizens of this country, then we shouldn't have to have our right to vote by a voting act. That's all I'm saying. It should be a law. Yeah, they just keep rolling it along, kicking it down the road like a can, Zero. They just keep extending it, and like nobody wants to deal with it. You know, I just, you know, find it odd. You know, since everyone seems to want our vote. Why wouldn't they make it a law that we really have a right to vote? Just saying. Just putting it out there, you know. Just conversation. No, you're right about that, Zero. You know, a lot of them aren't held accountable. You know, they operate on their privilege. And it's not really about, you know, because everyone else, see, no one else has this dilemma. No one else has this dilemma but those of us who are Black. We are the only ones who have this actual dilemma. And it keeps coming every time it comes up. You know, we have this big old conversation about it, about how our voting right is in jeopardy, blah, 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 blah. Sorry. And then some people try to say it's a myth. No, it's not a myth. It's not a myth. They have to keep writing it. Now, granted, they do keep you know, extending it, kicking that can down the road. But at some point, this is just my feeling, because we are actually citizens of this country, the United States Congress, you know, House of Representatives and the Senate need to have a come to Jesus meeting with themselves in regards to this, you know, because think about it, slavery is their embarrassment. They should be embarrassed about it. They should be very embarrassed about what was done to human beings, not only in this country, but clearly in all of South America. You know, this isn't the only place that the slaves went. Matter of fact, the majority of them went south. You know, hola español, you know, hello, I speak Spanish, you know, habla español, hablo español, comprende? That's, yeah, majority. Majority in the diaspora speak Spanish. You know? But they don't have to go through the same issue that we go through in this country about voting. I think in most other countries, you know, if they actually have a democratic or whatever kind of government, they don't have to worry about being able to vote based on their, you know, based on some voting right act. You know, as liberal as the United States is, aren't we liberal enough to just make that into a daggone law? You know, I mean, since you're never going to give reparations, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Hi, Nobby. I didn't even see you come in. Sorry, I'm running my mouth, y'all. I'm just bringing the, you know, because this is a presidential election year, and because a lot of people are so nonchalant about voting, I wanted to kind of really bring that part up. I really did. You know, I mean, it's just kind of crazy that we don't really have a actual quote unquote by law right to vote. It's just kind of crazy. That's all. You know, but it's been that way my entire life. I don't know any other way. I just know that I don't think it's right. You know, but of course that's my opinion. Exactly. You know, and that's the thing. How are we equal when we don't even have the right to vote by law? It's not even a law. And we're supposedly citizens of this country. You know, everyone who's born in this country is supposed to be is a citizen, which means you're supposed to have all the rights of a citizen. That means the right to vote. I'm just saying. Putting it out there. Hey, DLD. I'm just putting it out there. Nobody else has to think about that. I'm just saying, no one else, no other ethnic group in the United States has to think about the fact that the law doesn't protect our right to vote. We just have a voting act to protect our right to vote at this point. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna put you on mute. 1 second, y'all. Okay, I'm back. I had to get some water. It sounded worse than it is. I'm at the very end of this little virus I had. Yeah, but yeah, we aren't. We just don't have our complete rights. I'm just saying, you know, and every time it's voting time, I always think about this. And of course, I think about it every time that daggone bill comes up, for renewal. Yeah. So, you know, it's just a strange way to treat people who are supposedly, citizens. It's just a strange way to treat us, but it is what it is in this country that we are in. I'm going to just leave it at that. Now there was something else that at first I wasn't going to talk about this, but I think I'm just going to just give my opinion about this. So this is going on in one of the other, sectors of Black YouTube, in pretty much in the gossip and entertainment sector. So apparently there are some issues going on between the trans community and Black women because of some comments that were made by T.S. Madison. I guess the comment was, calling women a fish. And some people not understanding why that is offensive. I don't know about any other ethnic groups finding it offensive because I'm not any other ethnic group. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, it's pretty offensive. It, especially because it's foul. It's, to me, it's making a reference to something not being fresh, and then apparently they call guys girl, and then they call women a fish. Why can't I be a girl too? From my girl Elo. Shouts out to I am Elo. Eloho. Shouts out to I am Eloho. Yeah. So, I know that, a couple of bigger YouTubers, got upset about it. I know, it was a big conversation earlier, with, Nick at Night, because she felt highly offended about it and everything. I'm just kind of angry. But I don't think first of all, there seems to be some issues, and a lot of us know about it, between, cis women, as they call them, but I just call real women, real women, us real women, and, women who have transitioned to being a woman. Okay. So, I don't know if it's I don't like y'all kind of thing, hating on us kind of thing. But it seems like that term is used more with us, and it's used more within the Black trans community saying that, or, and it could be it could be within some of the gay, but I've never heard any just gay guys who weren't in the trans making those kind of obscene comments about a woman, calling her out her name like that. Yeah. But it's crazy, because now clearly I don't have any problems with, do you, boo. Do you. That's how I am about the kind of stuff. But I do think it's kind of offensive for anyone, even if it's in jest, even if it's in a private conversation, I don't think in any type of situation should anybody be referring to a woman as a fish. There's no situation where it's not offensive. None. No situation. None. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get as upset as, Neek got about it, because I think she felt that it was aimed at her. But I am going to say, the whole situation was kind of unfortunate that it kind of escalated to that, because, it's you got people going back and forth on YouTube. And you know how that makes us look. And it always seems to be people coming at the Black women. They are always coming at Black women, insulting us. I'm just saying. Yeah. Yeah, but it's just it was kind of, tasteless, but y'all know how T.S. Madison is. That person don't care. They really don't. They're going to do whatever they're doing and keep it moving. But I think it was insensitive, and really, I think at some point, if in fact, they genuinely apologize, I think that even if they didn't aim it at Neek at Night, I think that they should apologize for making her feel that way, in regards to that, because she was offended, because it was just it's just a derogatory comment being made to a woman. And yeah, Black women are going to get more offended by that, because we're the ones who get called that crazy comment. Okay? Yeah. And it's generally, by Black men who are not attracted to Black women, or to any woman, so to speak. Okay? So it's offensive, and I'm sorry, but here's my thing. Regardless of what context it was done in, I know that T.S. Madison is old enough to know that they probably shouldn't have done it. It costs somebody to feel some kind of way. And if you have love for Black women, regardless of, what your sexual orientation is or preference is, then you wouldn't do that. I'm just saying, as someone who is also Black. Just making that point, Hey, uppity unicorn. I mean, and trust me, I've got plenty of friends. I've had plenty of friends over my lifetime. Still do have some friends who, are gay. But even in jest, they don't be calling me nothing like that. They know better. They do know better. It's offensive. And I'm sorry, I don't know too many Black women who would not find being called a fish offensive. Don't know. Too many. I just don't. But it's been swirling around. It's been swirling around Black YouTube all day. All day. Because Neek was on this morning Tasha K was on this morning. Then Storm Monroe was on later on. I'm like, because apparently the incident was addressed on one of Tasha K's podcasts. But that podcast had not come out when Neek was up making her response to what T.S. Madison had put out originally. So it just kept swirling around most of the day today. And then, as I said, I am Eloho also jumped in and chimed in. And then she's not even part of the, the gossip sector, but she's all about Black women. And me as a Black woman am definitely about making, saying something about it because it's offensive. I'm a little YouTuber and I don't mean nothing. This man don't know who I am, or I'm sorry, this T.S. Madison doesn't know who I am because I don't know if they are fully or not. So I'm not going to even be, making that assumption. I don't know what they like to be called. So, but they don't know, they don't know me from Eve. So, okay, it's okay, but for them to not realize how that would offend Black women, it has nothing to do with being thick-skinned or not. It's just offensive. And most people don't want to associate with people who say things that are offensive to them. They just don't. So I know that, heck, I don't, it's not like I was following T.S. Madison in the first place, because, their show's not really my kind of show. I do like some of the stuff in the gossip, sector and everything, but, theirs is not part of my entertainment. I got other, ones that I like to go that are a little bit more positive, and uplifting to Black women in the Black gossip sector. I'm just saying. So it's like, don't none of us, it's like, I understood, Neek's point and everything, but then, you had a whole lot of messy Marvins and messy Marvas in her chat. They were trying, to cause some conflict between her and Tasha K. I'm like, I don't even know why y'all are doing all that stuff. Trying to say that Tasha's jealous of her or saying that she's jealous of Tasha. It's so stupid. There's plenty of content out there for both of them, and they both have their own audiences. I happen to like both of their content. I think Tasha's hilarious. I do. And I like me. She's in California and she does does things from a West Coast perspective, and that's cool. She has her own swag. It's all it's all good, but it's just like, to me, they're always trying to pit all of the Black women in that particular sector against each other. And I'm not going to even say just in that sector, because it seems whatever sector of Black YouTube it is, they are always trying to pit the Black women against each other. Yeah. People just try to, just messy. It's like, let these people just do content. Don't be trying to cause controversy where there doesn't need to be any. There's plenty of room out there for both of them, because they both, like I said, have their own swag, just like some of the other ones do, like Lovely T, who's been here forever, or Daytime Tea Time, and then you have Layla. Yeah, I know all of them. And of course, my girl, I am Eloho. I love her. Beautiful, beautiful sister. Beautiful system. Y'all need to check her out. If you aren't already following her, check out I Me Love Her. That sister has some nice things to put out there. I know. Oh, the kids woke up. Ha! They got you running, Miss Uppity Unicorn. Ooh, yeah, the youngsters. You know, so I guess by tomorrow we should have a better idea. But it's looking. I'm going to be finished in a few minutes, okay? Okay. Okay. But it's looking like it's going to be a race between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. And it's looking like right now Joe may have jumped ahead. Because if he gets California, that's a lot of delegates. But then, you also have the super delegates. Don't forget about those super delegates, okay? Those are ones who are just out there. And they don't necessarily have to vote the way the state. You know what I'm saying? They're special. So we shall see. And I'm very interested to see what happens with Jackie Lacey in LA. Number one, she's the first Black DA. And I'm telling you, they've been trying to get rid of that woman for a while. They have been trying to get rid of her for a minute, and I don't know if they were able to get her out of that office or not. I don't really have an opinion on it because I don't live in LA. But I do hate to see, this, kind of animosity towards the first Black DA in Los Angeles, and a female at that. Well, see, like with me, I mean, obviously, I follow a couple of people, of the bigger YouTubers, but I follow some other ones that, like I follow the biggest autism channel on here, Ask Me World, which is not even in the United States, is over in the UK. But like I have like Tasha, I follow, a few of the other ones. I don't necessarily watch all of their uploads, when they get into some of the drama stuff, but Tasha's funny to me, and I don't take everything that she's saying to heart, because it's definitely entertainment. And then, on the other hand, I'm also not somebody who's always sitting there drinking wine, because they like to say everyone who's in her chat are all drunk. No, that's not true. Some of us just like the way that she does things. She built that platform on her own, so she should be proud of herself. And all of these other ones should be proud of themselves too. Everybody has built their own platform, and I just don't understand, the going back and forth, cutting each other down. Stop it. Let's all just be in a positive space. It's like, and then you got, like I said, you got the messy Marvins, you got these guys out there who are trying to make these issues between Black women, and I'm to me, I mean, T.S. Madison is not a natural woman, so therefore they are not part of the Black woman team, and clearly they aren't, because they made that statement. They're part of the alphabet committee. Okay, but it was hateful, and it. And if you think it's funny when you're saying it around your friends, then you need to reevaluate, what you think is funny, and your sensitivity, thing. Where's your level of sensitivity, of any sensitivity, to not be coming at, Black women in that way? I'm just saying. I just don't get it. It's like, if you don't like women, that's fine, but you don't have to hate on the sisters. As a man that is part of the alphabet community, or trans that's part of the alphabet community, who used to be a man. I'm just saying, you don't have to be like that. It doesn't make you look bigger, and it doesn't, it doesn't look, it's not a good light to be in, Yeah, I guess they were at her home. Yeah, down in the basement or whatever, whatever, on doing the podcast. But, I saw the podcast, okay? That was at Tasha's. I did not see the original videos where the original references were made, but I don't need to have seen it. If they made those comments, and they admitted that they made those comments, I don't need to see it. It's offensive. And if you, as a 43-year-old, because you told your age on Tasha's thing, don't understand that, something wrong with you. You should understand that. And I believe that T.S. Madison did understand that it was insensitive and wrong. They just didn't give a what. They just didn't give a what. But anyway, guys, I've gotten to my, y'all know I do about an hour. And I've gotten to the hour, so I'm going to get ready to come on here so you guys can see me before we get out of here. Yeah. Let me get 1 second. Let me just come on. Hey, guys. Let me move it up so y'all can see me. There we go. How y'all doing? Anyway, I just thank you guys for coming out tonight. Yes, I'm here. It's up in a bun right now. I had it down all day, but not right now. But I am trying to get my videos done. They're like partly done, but I haven't finished doing the editing. So got like 3 videos coming this week. But I had to, be able to get through them without coughing, because one of them I'm voicing over. Anyway, thank you everybody for coming out tonight. I guess we'll see tomorrow what happened tonight as far as the presidential Super Tuesday. See what's going on, but it's looking like it's going to be Biden, followed by Bernie. And I appreciate y'all for hanging out with us, sister. Thank y'all for coming through the Purple Paisley Squad. I appreciate everyone for coming. Thanks to my mods and to everybody else in the chat. As always, I want to offer you guys peace. Let me get my hands over. There we go. Peace. And blessings from the West Side, you guys. Bye, everybody. I will be back on tomorrow for that Wednesday wisdom. See you guys until then. Bye, everybody.